a scion of many worlds. Blaze was completely cooperative and did not resist when he got everyone moving back to the capital, and he then personally carried her up high. There was some screaming, though. However, he was able to assure her that she was much more valuable alive and cooperative, and he was just taking a look at everyone's progress before getting more done. What more do you have to do? The Luxway is crushed beneath you, my sister's slain, and I've surrendered. What else is there? Make sure that the Goldlands honor their agreement and pay the food in full to Miru. Ensure that Zavaya doesn't sneak out of her new education. Make sure the Miru armies are properly trained and get someone with some kind of architectural knowledge to do something about the filth on the streets of the capital city. Organize the rebuilding of the Greenstone capital. Put a few holes in the Wu River Dam to let the waters flow. Ensure that no one in the Miru army is trying to do something sneaky. Contact all the villages and towns of Greenstone to ensure things aren't burning down. Check everyone's food supplies in Greenstone and Miru both. I need to contact my people for a status update. Get started on those glasses I promised the slipways. Put out any little fires and fuck-ups that flare up in the meantime. Head to the Bright Dawn archipelago and try to stop the pirate raids. Failing that, I need to cripple their navy or conquer them outright. This is absurd. No mortal can do so much. Blaze states in shock as they swoop down over the capital. They land on the roof of the abandoned keep and he shrugs before setting her down. I'm not finished. I also need to make contact with the mountain clans and get them either neutral or on my side. Make at least some contact with all known Urthani tribes and then systematically go through all of the eastern city-states and get something hashed out with all of them. Following that, I make my way across the Twin Chains, making contact with all the Jorga enclaves. I follow them all the way to the Empire of Chains and either burn it down or put my boot on their necks to stop the madness. Then I parley with the more distant empires, and if the opportunity arises, I will knock the marauder bands out of the sky. He explains, leaving out the personal projects. But that's too much. Nothing can... Are you a god? Better. He answers, stepping away and looking out over the city to get a good mental map of the layout. Now that he's taking a good look, there are several places where locals had decided to stay. He'll need to talk to them. What's greater than a god? The undaunted. We answer the call for help. Stay here. He orders her before stepping off the room and flying in the more Urthani fashion and fluttering to the nearest little patch of home. It takes him an hour of fluttering around to tell everyone that the madness has passed and the people are returning. A lot of them are eager to see their former neighbors again, but there are concerns for food. He makes the promise to get some. He's got a mountain to do anyways. What's one more task? Actually, now that he thinks about it, he can combine a couple. Bring some manufactured weapons to the mountain clans in exchange for their help in hunting some larger beasts to deliver to Greenstone to bolster the food supplies. A perfect answer. It shows he respects the mountain clans, has them do something they already like doing and doing it in a way that solves one of his major problems. Instead of flying back to Blaze, he teleports to the rooftop. The gasp of surprise lets him know that she didn't do anything stupid. I'm finished here for now. You will be detained at the Aridus Valley. There you will find your new home for the time being, as well as an opportunity for redemption. Redemption? You're still alive, which means you can grow into a better person. So yes, redemption. You have spent your time following a cruel master and manipulated others to ruin in their name. Now you will return to being a student and study from the Star Seekers. That's your great prison for me? A monastery? Yes, a place full of people who train all their lives to question things and try to understand their impulses. People who won't obey their first instinct. People who will recognize and despise your attempted manipulations nearly as much as me. He answers and her eyes go wide with understanding before she nods. I understand. Clever. How do you know I won't just set things on fire and run? She challenges and he leans down to glare at her. She tries to shrink back but loses her balance and falls onto her rear. Thankfully, the roof is flat on this part, so there's no chance of her tumbling off. Because if you do, I will find you and you will not have time to surrender. He growls down at her and then she seems to shift as if suddenly extremely uncomfortable. Shortness of breath, flushed expression, a gaze wandering over him with an emphasis on his shoulders. He just found one of her turn-ons. Great. Just what he needed. A psycho-stalker mind-bender. Dandy. Just freaking dandy. All right, come on, Lusty. Let's get you and your animal urges to a ridus. He says, picking her up again, firmly but not in a way that could hurt her, and taking off into the sky. The flight is almost pleasant. She has nothing to say and is squirming uncomfortably, clearly wondering what he means by lusty or animal urges, while also fighting down, admitting that she has the burning loins. The discomfort brings him some amusement. In just a few hours, they touch down in Eridus. He puts a claw on her head and guides her in, reminding her that he's in charge but not hurting her. Sister Coiltread, it's good to see you. I have a new student. Like the other, she's under parole for poor behavior. This one was more actively malicious, though. She used mind-bending arts to destabilize Greenstone and reduce many of its people to live like savages. Thankfully, the discipline of the Order should serve as a nigh-perfect deterrent, and I've let her know that there will be consequences to abusing the mercy I've shown her. Sister Coiltread looks from Blaze to Jasper in shock before turning fully to Jasper and gesturing to Blaze. If she's so dangerous enough to destabilize a nation, why isn't she dead? I surrendered, and he then promised to treat me better than my own superiors would at times. I still don't understand. Blaze explains, and Jasper gives her a little pat. I'm not a barbarian. I have rules and standards. Besides, treating those who surrender to me well encourages others to do the same, saves me cleaning the blood off my swords and claws, he says. Well, that's one way of looking at it. I can get her started, but you need to see to the former Empress. That brat's throwing a fit of some kind and has vanished on us. We're positive she's still in the valley, but she's rendered herself invisible. Oh, for the love of... Thank you for telling me. I'll see to it, Jasper says before turning to Blaze. Remember, this is your chance at redemption. I advise you to take it. He then turns to Sister Coiltread. Thank you for doing this. There are 1,010 things that need to be done, and every bit of help is a blessing. Then he leaves and starts his hunt for a brat. At least, this wasn't high stakes, unless it took too long and detracted from the other things he has to do. It takes him far longer than he would like to find her sulking near the kitchens. He starts hauling her around like a sack of potatoes and only puts her down when she fades back into visibility. But she already ate up too much time and he needs to speak with the Undaunted. Apparently, they wanted to talk with him about 5 hours ago. Jasper here, he says into the radio. It's just a hunk of metal, there's no way. Zavia begins before Jasper is answered. This is The Dauntless, Jasper, do you read? I read. You said you had something for me? Information. We've been going over the records of the nest, and there's no way in hell it could have done anywhere near the amount of damage you were implying happened to the defensive network. It had to be something else. What? But its weapons were rated for space combat only. It could shoot down a comet or meteor. It could slap away missiles and burn some nasty holes in enemy ships, but it was a colony vessel, not a warship. Whatever hit that defensive installation had much higher yield than the nest was capable of putting out. Mystery on mystery, and this one's defined by a strict absence of evidence. So, the colony ship came to this world. There was a defensive installation and unannounced residents already here. They must have surprised each other, then something powerful surprised them both, then just left. Maybe with the men? It could have been a third party swooping in at the last moment to save the nest and tear a prize off it. That does make a lot of sense, and the only way to confirm it is if I find no evidence of male corpses on this world. Hard as hell after all the time that passed. Tell me about it, but it's nowhere near as long a shot as you guys somehow getting records from black markets 1,000 years ago. Yeesh, no kidding. That's a level of information gathering that Sir Philip would call bullshit on. Not exactly. A proper old British voice butts in. You must be joking, Jasper says, unsurprised the call was monitored but fascinated nonetheless. No, it's just difficult. There are some residents of the galaxy that live many thousands of years, and many of them have records from the time of their youth to remind them of events of the past. If we're allowed to examine a few such collections, there may be some clues. Either way, this is an excellent training opportunity. So if you'll both kindly excuse me, I must see to setting up this new exercise as best I can. Well, if that isn't living up to the term undaunted, I don't know what is. I conquered a country, saved a second, and broke a drought while all technically less than a month old, Jasper asks, and there's a rueful chuckle on the other end. Show off. The man on the other end accuses him, and Jasper chuckles. Right, well, I apparently have a 1,000-year-old criminal case to study, a teenager to wrangle, and nations to manage. You know, day-to-day stuff. Maybe I'll come across a challenge someday, Jasper says, and the other man chuckles. Is there anything else? Yes, it's being penned out now, but you should know about this. We're forming specialist forces. You, your brother, and much of the rescue operations heading for Lacrin are going to be the founding members of Titan Squad. Basically, the biggest, baddest soldiers we got mainlining Axiom to become our living siege weapons. Sound good? Ah, so I won't be the only 10-foot freak? Oh no, this is going to be the division of the big guys and all the Canadors and Lydris that are signing up. Our strongest and fastest brothers and sisters in the best armor we can find with weapons so strong, they're casually a threat to full-scale battleships. I like the sound of that. I take it there's going to be a fair amount of paperwork to fill in? Some, but don't worry. There's not too much, just a transfer form. You've already got a very full plate. Yes, I do. Still, Titan Squad. I like it. All right, go forth and perform more miracles, my man. Can't. I have to deal with a sulky teenager I dethroned first. Oof, best of luck, the officer says before pausing. Actually, if you have a few more miracles today, why not take her with you? Take your daughter to work day so she can learn just how hard you have to push to get things done. No, Zavia states sternly, and Jasper nods. Well, considering her record of good and bad ideas, her disapproval of that thought must mean it's a decent one. Thanks, Jasper says, and the call disconnects. He puts the radio down and considers. So there's a third party. Both sides of the conflict were destroyed, but it should have been a complete turkey shoot for one side. It also puts into doubt exactly what they were. A defensive formation of artillery batteries does not mean pirates. It means someone with resources and an awareness of the danger around them. So, was it even pirates? As always, they need more information, much more information. But at the moment, his main focus is on the child who's been slowly bending light around herself to try and slip out of the room unseen, apparently unaware that his antennae allow him to perceive her even more clearly now due to the extremely odd patterns that stunt creates. Her attempt at stealth is basically like trying to distract him by carrying a neon sign saying, "Look at me."